Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. Hope you're having a magical day. Thank you for taking the time. Today, we are in part 4 of the Brothers War spoilers. All 287 cards revealed, discovery phased, all wrapping up with the end of this video. Now beginning to theorycraft some decks for the new set, which, big news, will have an early access event November 10th through November 11th. So don't miss out on that. More details as to the specific time that I will be streaming this live on Twitch as we roll a little bit closer. Of course, first we need to familiarize ourselves with all of those cards. So let's take a look at the remaining cards in Brothers War. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to help support. We did leave off in part 3 with Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. Fantastic card. Moving on today, as we have a lot to get through, with Honored Stoneseeker. For 2 mana, it's a 2/2 lizard with Menace, which is nice to see. And whenever it enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone. This is not bad. When it leaves the battlefield, sacrifice a Power Stone. So that's kind of where things go from not bad to, wow, that's not great. But at the end of the day, maybe you don't have any Power Stones left at that point because you've sacrificed them for something else. Maybe, we'll see. Serenith Steelseeker for 2 as well, within green, a 1/2 creature, human artificer scout. And whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may reveal it, put it into your hand. Beautiful. And if you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Interesting. So that's kind of, I talk about discovering the synergies that they're pushing within the set, and it does look like we've got a little bit of graveyard recursion, self-mill reanimator going on here, which is fun to see. Definitely not the first card. Battery Bearer for 4 is a 3/4 human artificer in Simic, green and blue colors. Creatures you control have tap to add generic mana. This can only be spent on artifact spells, not on non-artifacts. And whenever you cast an artifact spell with mana 6 or greater, draw a card. Those are my 3 favorite words in Magic. This is an uncommon card. We love it. This is really good for the free-to-play gang. Hulking Metamorph 4/9 as our next artifact creature, Shapeshifter. It's nice to see Shapeshifters coming back. Prototype for 4 as a 3/3. If not, you're paying that 9 somehow. I wonder how we'll get that much mana. Looking at you, Battery. You may have Hulking Metamorph enter the battlefield as a copy of an artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact creature in addition to its other types, and its power and toughness are equal to the Metamorphs, which is great. Cool card. A little expensive, but you get what you get when you're playing with uncommons. The Spotted Thopter for 8 as a 4/5 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, scry X, where X is its power. We can prototype it in for 4 as a 2/3. So this prototype looking pretty healthy so far. Let's see how busted it is, right? Defabricate for 2, instant speed, choose 1. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. If the spell would be countered, exile it instead, and then counter target activated or triggered ability, which we don't mind. That's pretty good. We like to just counter stuff, whatever it is. Now this is a card. The Titania's Command for 6. Sorcery speed, choose 2, exile target player's graveyard. You gain 1 life for each card exiled this way. That is good. Search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them into the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. That's also really good. You'll notice they're not basic lands. Just 2 lands, dude. Rock and roll. Create 2 2/2 bear creature tokens. That's honestly not bad either. Or put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. That is a card. Good to see. We have the something. Hostile Negotiation, instant speed for 4, exiling the top 3 cards of your library in a pile face down, then exiling the top 3 cards of your library in another pile face down. Look at the cards and turn a pile of your choice face up. Target opponent chooses a pile, put that pile into your hand, the other pile in your graveyard. You lose 3 life. So this is really good. This is instant speed, 4 mana, draw 3. And fill your grave, because that's probably what you want to do anyways, isn't it? Holy Toledos! We had a community member who likes to flip cards. They buy them cheap when a set's released, and as people discover they're good, they resell at a higher price. Whew. Mr. Wood, this one's for you, bud. I think that's the one you're looking for. I like it. I think that is only going to increase in value. Moving on, the Killzone Acrobat for 3 as a 3/2, and this human soldier, whenever it attacks, will sacrifice a creature or artifact, and if you do so, it's going to gain flying till the end of turn. We talked about how that creature, that red creature, just like a few minutes ago, entered play, made a Power Stone, and when it left play, you had to sacrifice that Power Stone. So maybe, like I said, we sacrificed that Power Stone in a different way to, mitigate that leaving the battlefield effect. So we're just gaining value from that stone regardless, because it's a pretty good creature, 2/2 for 2, that, that makes that stone, if you can get value from that in a different way other than sacrificing it when it leaves, it's like, what is this, a pawn shop? Ravenous Gigamole for 4, a 2/3, and whenever the mole enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, and you may put a creature card from among the milled cards this way into your hand if you don't put a +1/+1 counter on the Mizzle. It's a common card. It's going to do some stuff. Any common that does stuff is pretty cool, I guess. Raxodemon for 2 is a 2/2. Pay 3, tap it, sacrifice another creature or artifact to draw a card. A little expensive. This is like Dockside Chef with 1 extra power, but now you're paying an extra mana and you have to tap. Ooh. The Grixien Skullflayer for 3 as a 2/3 Phyrexian Human Assassin. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on the Skullflayer. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's definitely not bad. That's going to be something that can trigger turn after turn after turn. Very good and limited. It's a common. Eventually this could be like a 4/5 or something, right? And that's going to be really good and limited as opposed to 2/3. The Dredging Claw. Artifact equipment, equipped for 2. Artifact or equipped creature, gets +1/+0 and has menace. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may automatically attach Dredging Claw to it. I just can't see this being too good. Menace +1. It gets attached for free later on, but I don't know. That's probably a pass for this guy. The Scrapwork Rager for 4 is a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Draw a card, okay. Unearth for 4. Oh, we're drawing 2 cards? Sign me up. The Whirling Strike for 2, instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+0, gains first strike and trample until the end of turn. So, combat shenanigans, that's going to give you damage, and it's going to keep your creature alive through that first strike, which is nice. The Scrapwork Mutt for 2 is a 2/1 artifact creature. Dugo. That is a weird looking dog. That's a very frightening dog, let's be honest. Oh my god. Maybe I can't look at that. Looks like a giant bat, though, to me. Dude, what's mine say? When the Mutt enters the battlefield, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. That's always good, and Unearth for 2 is fantastic as well. That is actually frightening. Don't look too close, kids. Excavation Explosion for 3, and it'll deal 3 damage to any target, creating a tapped Power Stone as well. Very cool, but sorcery speed, womp womp. Unleash Shell for 5, instant speed, 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and 2 damage to their controller. A little expensive, but when you're playing limited, any removal is good removal. The Blanchwood Prowler, Blankwood, 2 mana, 1/1, elemental, enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, put a land from a mill among those milled cards into your hand. If you don't, put the +1/+1 counter on the Prowler. Perimeter Patrol for 3/3 human soldier, nice. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it's going to get +1/+0 until the end of turn. Shoot down for 4 sorcery, exiling artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. 2 slow, expensive too. Koleos Rock for 5, flash flying, 3/3, decent, enters the battlefield, create a Power Stone. We like it. They're all tapped. You know, I'm just at a certain point, I'm not going to say tapped Power Stone for 3 months. I'm just going to say Power Stone because they all come in tapped. Anyways, the Weak Stone Subjugation for 1 aura. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 if you do tap the permanent, and the permanent will not tap during its controller's untap step. So this is actually really quite nice. The Combat Courier for 1 artifact creature construct 1/1, pay 2, sacrifice it, draw a card, unearth for 1. Now that is a good card. Wow. Combat Courier. Nice. This is good. The Aeronaut Cavalry for 5, 3/4 flying, enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on another target soldier you control. Expensive, that's a limited banger. Airlift Chaplain, 3 mana, 1/1, flying. When it enters battlefield, mill 3 cards. You may put a plains card or a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among the milled into your hand. If not, put a counter on it. So that's going to be a really common, not a mechanic, but it should have been its own mechanic, maybe. Would have saving a lot of text. Phalanx Vanguard for 2 is a 2/2 and vigilance. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, the Vanguard gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Recommission for 2 sorcery, return target artifact or creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a creature, enters the battlefield this way with an additional +1 counter on it. That's good. What? The Rat Pack does not need to be recommissioning anything. Warlord's Elite for 3, 4/4 is an additional cost to cast this spell. Tap 2 untapped artifacts, creatures, and or lands you control. I mean, 4/4 is good for 3 mana, but then you're tapping a lot of things too? Potentially it's 5 mana if you're doing the lands, right? Veteran's Power Blade for 3, equipped creature gets +2/+0, soldier equipped for 1, regularly for 2. Legions to Ashes for 3, sorcery speed, exiling target non-land permanent and opponent controls, and all tokens of that that player controls of the same name with that permanent. Huh. This is like shuts down Jank Lords who are copying copies of artifacts or enchantments. Good card. Where is this useful right now? Sure, it's somewhere in standard, but The Tactician for 4, Yodon, I believe. 3/4, other soldiers get +1/+1. Azorius, white and blue colors. Would you look at that? A little expensive, honestly. Ratabrick Hate, I suppose. That's a good one. Meticulous Evacuation. Excavation. Sorry. They're evacuating the rocks, dude. Enchantment, pay 3, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. If it has unearth, instead exile it, and then return that card to its owner's hand, activating that during your turn. I kind of like, you know, the, oh, frick, what do you even call it? Archaeologist vibe. You know, with unearth, like you're finding these ruins, right? You're like, it's pretty cool. The artificers and all that. The Slagstone Refinery for 4. Whenever it or another non-token creature artifact you control, my god, reading, right? Whenever Slagstone Refinery or another non-token artifact creature, I don't know where I'm getting this creature from, artifact you control is put into the graveyard from your battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, create a Power Stone. Okay, so multiple Power Stones. Whenever it or another non-token artifact you control is sent to the grave from the battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone. I had to reread a couple times here. Life is hard, right? I can barely add. You expect me to be reading. Expensive, but it's like, it's accessible. It's an uncommon and it can make multiple Power Stones. So, you know, maybe that could even combo out somehow, maybe. It's just, there's no combos with the Power Stones because they all come in tapped, you know? Moving on, we have Evolving Wilds reprint. Love the art. Sacrifice it. Grab a basic. Tower Worker for 3. 1/3 reach. Add a generic mana if you control creatures named Mine Worker and Plant Worker. And then if you do, you're going to add 3 instead, which is pretty cool. Moving on, we have the Swiftgear Drake for 5, 2/4. artifact creature Drake, flying haste. When it enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Okay. Supply drop for 3. Flash enters the battlefield. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Pay 4, sacrifice it, draw a card. That's actually not the worst battle trick. You know, you're going to win the combat interaction, and then later you can get a draw. I don't mind that. Stone retrieval unit for 4, 2/3 enters the battlefield. Create a tapped power stone. Spectrum Sentinel for 1, 1/2 protection from multicolored. Nice. Whenever a non-basic land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, gain 1 life. I think this is very good. This is maybe something that you could make a bunch of. So I'm looking at that last card that kills tokens, right? I'm like, well, what would you make tokens of that couldn't kill now? And this is that Sentinel, protection from multicolor. You can make an army of these Sentinels and be relatively safe. Maybe, we'll see. And then, like, if they play a land and you've got 10 of these, you know, that's if you really stacking them like obsessively, it could be good. But again, you know, budget jank. Energy Refractor for 2. Artifact enters the battlefield, draw a card, pay 2, add 1 mana of any color. So the draw is nice. You can bounce it. That's good. And, you know, potentially, it's a nice mana fixer, right? So Aeronaut's Wings for 2, +1/+0 flying, equip for 2. Cradle Clear Cutter for 6, 3/6, tap, add green mana equal to its power. Prototype for 3 is a 1/3. Boulder Branch Golem for 7 is a 6/5. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to its power. Prototype as a 3/3 for 4. The Honor Guard for 2 is a 3/1 human soldier, ward 2. Boarding Recluse for 4 is a 2/3 with reach and death touch. When it dies, up to 1 other target card from a graveyard goes to the bottom of its owner's library. Gnawroot Pallbearer, 6 mana, 5/5. Trample, Treefolk Druid. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Very interesting. Citadel Stalwart for 1, 1/1. Tap it. Tap an untapped artifact or creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. Yeah. This is a good card. It's an elf too, which is probably a little busted, alongside Soldier. Interesting. Burrowing Razormaw for 3, 4/2. When it dies, mill 4. Blitz Automaton. 7, 6/4 with haste. Prototype for 3 is a 3/2. Tomahawk Scrapsmith for 3, 2/1. Enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Artifact from among them into your hand. If you don't, +1/+1 counter on the Smith. Rock Hunter for 2, 3/1 with reach as a human soldier. Interesting. Pendragon Strongbull, 3 mana, 2/3 Minotaur. Interesting. A cool tribe that never gets enough love, in my opinion. 1 mana, sacrifice it. Sacrifice an artifact. So we already talked about sacrificing those power stones. Give it +1/+1 until the end of turn, and deal 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. I like it. Dwarven Forge Chanter for 2, a 1/3 ward, pay 2 life. Prowess. Oh, I like the prowess alongside that ward. That's nice. Conscripted Infantry, 3 mana, 3/1. When it dies, create a 1/1 soldier. Gorewing Warplow for 6, 5/4 with death touch. Prototype as a 1/1 for 2. The Trench Stalker for 5, 4/5. As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Stalker has death touch and lifelink. Pretty good limited. Moment of Defiance for 3, instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+1, gains lifelink until end of turn, draw a card. Gixian Infiltrator for 2, a 2/1, and when you sacrifice another permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on the Infiltrator. That's pretty good. That's like not that bad. Emergency Weld for 2. Sorcery, return artifact or creature from your graveyard to your hand. Create a token, 1/1 soldier. Lovely. Carrion Lotus for 3 is a 2/1 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, exile target card from opponent's graveyard. If it was a creature card, that player loses 1 life. I like it. Insect Horror. Coastal Bulwark for 2, Defender, +2/+0 as long as you control an island. Pay 2, tap it, Surveil 1, interesting. Wing Commando for 3, 2/2 Flying Prowess. I like Prowess, that's a good mechanic. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, actually non-creature in general, I believe, it can be an enchantment, it can be a planeswalker. I'm fairly certain that's going to push up that prowess, and we like that. Oh yeah, it says right here, whenever you cast a non-creature spell. LOL. Scatter Ray for 2, instant speed, counter target artifact or creature spell unless its controller pays 4. Nice. Involuntary cooldown for 4 sorcery speed. Tap 2 artifacts and or creatures. Put 2 stun counters on them. That's pretty good. Retrieval Agent for 4, 2/5, pay 2. Agent gets +1, -1 until end of turn. Desynchronize for 5, instant speed. Target non-land permanent permanent's owner puts the top or bottom of their library. What? Target non-land permanent's owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Scry 2. Nice. A little expensive. The way this is worded is weird to me. It should be target non-land permanent and its owner puts, or and then its owner. Target non-land permanent's owner. I guess. Shit, dude. Curate. This is what's really upsetting. As upsetting as just, you know, general comprehension is to me, Curate is even more upsetting for 2 because I can tell about this is, you know, imagine being able to read Surveil for 2, draw a card, mono blue, frick right off, Randy. So Surveil, they're gonna look at the top 2 and they can put them into their graveyard. Gross. They don't need to be filling their graveyard and, like, you know, grabbing 3 cards. Like, what? Absolutely stop it. Air Marshal for 2, pay 3, target soldier gains flying until end of turn is a 2/1. Prison Sentence for 3 mana. Enchant creature, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Its activated abilities cannot be activated. Military Discipline for 1 mana. Flash. Aura. When it enters the battlefield, the enchanted creature gains first strike until end of turn. Enchanted creature also gets +1/+0. Loran's Escape for 1. Target artifact or creature gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Scry 1. And that is all 287 cards. Maybe next set I'll finally know how to read. Life is hard though, right? We're getting there. Today we've seen a lot of the limited stuff revealed. There's a couple heaters in here, don't get me wrong. There's some nice cards that we pointed out. More so for the free-to-play decks that we'll be making. Some support for the more competitive decks here and there. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just filling out the set. You know, I like the set so far. This is the one, you know what I mean? I like that Titania's Command quite a bit as well, but this instant speed, oh no. Instant speed, draw in black, yikes. That actually makes me nervous. We love to see it. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have an absolute magical day. This was part 4 of 4. We've gone through all of the cards. If you want to hear my thoughts on everything else, you know, definitely go for a look within the recent uploads and you'll find those. Of course, we have all the 2023 starter decks rolling out. So if you're interested in, you know, upgrading for free just by using the cards included within the other 15 decks that you get for free to be as competitive as possible while you're just starting out, you know, we've got you covered there. Of course, we will upgrade those lists with these new commons and uncommons if they're any good as they come out, if they suit the deck, right? So those lists will get upgraded also. We've got the Marvel Snap content coming out. We've got the members content and all that as well, if you're interested in that. It's just been a fantastic time. We've been putting in work, bro. I hope you're ready for Brothers War. Like I said, we have that early access event, November 11th through November 10th through November 11th. And, you know, we're super interested in that and more details as we get a little bit closer as to the specifics when you can find us in our content, right? So have a magical day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next, yeah?